Matt Sonicson here with Championship Combines and Athletic Recruiting Counselors. I'm going to walk you through our recruiting education talk that I provide for the parents at our many recruiting combines throughout the country. When the athletes head to the floor to enjoy the combine, I stay with the parents, give them some information, help them understand the recruiting process. We have a handout that we provide with a lot of information. And without fail, at the end of the talk, we always have parents asking, are we able to do this with the student athletes? And because we like to keep the kids not in the gym for over 90 minutes because they've got a tournament the next day, they're hungry, they just worked out, they're kind of tired, we usually don't talk to the athletes. So we're putting this on film in an effort to help remind parents of the information they might have forgotten and to share it with their student athletes so they can understand the recruiting process better. Once again, we will be reviewing the handout. We'll put a screenshot of this up on the video next, along with attach it as a PDF so you can download it and follow along. A little bit about my background. I was fortunate enough to have played volleyball at UCLA. We won 2 national championships when I was there, and I was selected as a 3-time All-American setter. After UCLA, I joined the United States national team, played professional volleyball in Europe, and finished my career by playing on the AVP Pro Beach Volleyball Tour. I moved into collegiate coaching, first as an assistant at Clemson University, the University of California, Santa Barbara, or UCSB, and the University of Iowa. I was co-head volleyball coach at the University of Iowa, and then head volleyball coach at Louisiana Tech, along with the University of Tulsa. Outside of Division I, I was the head volleyball coach at a D2 school in South Carolina and a head volleyball coach at an NAIA school in Kansas. My father was the head volleyball coach at Baylor University when they were part of the old Southwest Conference, and then he retired after coaching over 20 years at the Division III level at Grinnell College in Grinnell, Iowa. So pretty much my whole adult life, one way or another, has been involved with college volleyball and college volleyball recruiting. As we start to review the information, please keep in mind that the college volleyball recruiting process is incredibly competitive at all levels. Gone are the days where you just play club volleyball, a coach finds you, you like the school, and you live happily ever after. The bottom line is there's a tremendous amount of talent, and there's more and more club kids, more and more club teams every year, but they're not building any more universities. So first off, let's go ahead and review the current NC2A Division I recruiting rules. Now, we just list and review the D1 rules because they tend to be the most comprehensive and restrictive. Now, non-Division I schools, including the NAIA and junior college organizations, tend to follow these protocols, even though they're not their rules. They'll follow this same type of timing. The reason is outside of Division I, a large percentage of your scholarship or your opportunity could be based on academics, and upperclassmen grades tend to have more impact than lowerclassmen grades. Let me take a moment to emphasize these are general observations. This is not the recruiting law. There's always outliers. There's always that unicorn kid. There's always, exceptions. But in general, these are the protocols that college coaches are going to follow. If you are a freshman or sophomore, it's pretty limited how college coaches in the Division I ranks can interact with you. Per the rules, they can send you an introductory letter and questionnaire along with camp information. Outside of that, it's nothing. They can't text you, they can't email you, they can't snap you or tweet you. You can't even see them. If you walk onto campus and duck into their offices, they shouldn't talk to you. But Them not actively engaging with you doesn't mean that they're not evaluating you. It's a big mistake we see families make is they think, oh, I wrote this coach and they didn't get back to me. They must not be interested. If you're a freshman or sophomore, they're not supposed to write back to you. And once again, outside of the Division One ranks, they're probably not going to write back to you because they don't know what your grades are going to be like. They don't know exactly who else is recruiting you. Are you going to commit to a Division One school as a senior, or are you going to go D2? A D2 coach isn't going to invest heavily into you when you're a freshman. If you are a junior or senior status, and once again, rising seniors, rising juniors, it's all open. You can call college coaches, they can call you. You can email them, you can text them. They can contact you by any form of electronic communication. There's a lot of different ways that people can communicate, and as a junior or senior, it's all on right now. You can take unofficial visits. Reminder, an unofficial visit is you go to the school, but you pay for everything to go there. You can take official visits. An official visit is the college coach pays for you to go to the school and visit them. Everything is wide open. Now, once again, outside of Division One, the Division Two, Three, and NAIA coaches will follow the same protocol because now that you're an upperclassman, you have physically started to reach your peak. Coaches have a better idea of exactly how good you are and you're going to become. And most importantly, your grades have a little bit more impact. That's going to affect the non-Division One schools in determining how much scholarship money that their school, not just their program, but their school is going to be able to offer you. One thing that I will emphasize when it comes to college recruiting is knowing the role of camps, especially as a junior or senior. If you are getting camp information from a school who you have not actively engaged with, either they haven't responded to your outreach or they're a school who you did not have on your list as a potential, but you're getting a recruiting email from them that is focused only on camp, that's probably not the best use of your recruiting efforts. Now let's go ahead and move on to women's college volleyball programs and the scholarships offered. I was not recruited to UCLA because of my brains, and my family didn't pay for out-of-state tuition within the UC system because they were wealthy. I got to UCLA because of volleyball, and it was paid for by the scholarship. So I'm very sensitive to the scholarship needs and opportunities for volleyball families. If we look at Division One women's volleyball, there's over 300 programs that sponsor the sport, and each program can offer 18 athletic scholarships. Take a moment, though, and step back and think about the reality of collegiate athletics. The power conference schools will offer 18 scholarships. These are traditionally the Big 10, the Big 12, the SEC, and the ACC programs. They will offer 18 scholarships. But remember, not every NC2A Division I program is the same. The power conference schools are going to offer 18 scholarships. The mid-majors, it's kind of hit or miss if they're going to offer 18. A few years ago, the limit was 12, and most of the schools in the country offered 12. But to add 6 more scholarships for women's volleyball can be a stretch for the mid-major schools and the lower Division I schools. So be aware, it may say 18 on paper, but that may not be what the school can fund. Now, the most important note is the scholarship limit. When the NC2A changed the scholarship limits and increased scholarships for women's volleyball, men's volleyball, tennis, soccer, it also increased the scholarship numbers for football and basketball. And college athletic departments are going to fund the scholarships for football and basketball before they do for women's volleyball and especially men's volleyball. Possibly the hidden impact of this scholarship increase was the limit of athletes on the roster. NC2A Division I women's volleyball has 18 spots. That's it. When this rule was being implemented, D1 coaches that I know were actually cutting their rosters to get under 18. So if you're going to go Division I, and once again, this is only applicable to Division I, and you're looking at being a walk-on, you're going to have to ask how many roster spots that they have available. Now, the Power Conference programs, it's pretty simple. 18 roster spots, 18 full scholarships. But if you're outside of the Power Conferences, you may be going out of pocket or on a partial scholarship while the program stays under the 18 roster threshold. NC2A Division II volleyball has just under 300 programs, but they don't have any roster cap. Now, their limitation is they have 8 athletic scholarships. The difference is they can take those 8 scholarships and partial those out to 25, 30 kids, as long as at the end of the day, all of those kids on an athletic scholarship equal 8. Now, in Division II, this is where academics play a big part. Most of your scholarship is going to be carried by academics. Remember, schools can offer athletic scholarships, academic scholarships, merit scholarships, big brothers, big sisters, save the whales, or aids and grant, for instance, like the Pell Grant and the FAFSA program. Division II, you're always thinking about packaging. Now, I'm a big proponent of Division II athletics. It's the way that NC2A Division I used to be. You know, if you're a Division I athlete, your whole life is volleyball. You get maybe 2 weeks off for Christmas and a couple weeks off in the summer. The rest of the time, you're in summer school, you're taking a spring break team trip, you're constantly training. There is literally no downtime. Division II, you still can have a life outside of college volleyball. You can be in a sorority. You can be in the drama club. You can study abroad during the summer. Division II athletics is highly competitive, but once again, you can have a life outside of it. Now, if you look at NC2A Division III, NC2A Division III does not have athletic scholarships. The focus of NC2A Division III programs is school. Okay? They don't have athletic scholarships. Division III is very much the opportunity for your student athlete that's super smart, who's driven academically, who knows they're going to be an engineer, they want to be a lawyer, they want to be a doctor, but they still want to play college volleyball. They still want to engage in collegiate athletes. The time commitment for athletics within Division III is much, much smaller. It's still serious. It's still collegiate athletics. You still work really hard, but you don't have to spend your whole life on the court, in the gym, or the weight room. Division III is a great opportunity for student athletes and for families that want the best of both worlds. Now, be aware, many Division III schools are private, so your scholarships are going to be really driven by academics and merit and need based. But with my father being a Division III coach for over 20 years, the kids had great experiences. They played at a very high level, and it was a great opportunity for them. NC2A Division III has over 400 programs. It's actually the largest division of college volleyball in the United States. It is a great playing opportunity where academics are the reason you're at school, and volleyball is a great addition to your collegiate experience. Let's look at the NAIA division. The NAIA, the National Association for Intercollegiate Athletics, is a completely different governing body than the NCAA. The biggest difference between NAIA and NCAA is the logo. Okay. NCAA has that blue logo that we always see on March Madness and bowl games on ESPN. NAIA doesn't get the hype that the NCAA does, which is too bad because the NAIA can be a great opportunity for athletes. In a very real sense, the NAIA is the twin sister of NCAA Division II volleyball. The NAIA offers 8 scholarships. They can be partialed out, so kids can get a partial athletic scholarship that they combine with academic, merit, and need-based. And like the NC2A Division II level, most of your scholarship is going to be carried by athletics. The time commitment is similar. You get your summers off if you want. You get spring break off. The spring season's very small, the regular season shorter, you get the holidays off. In fact, many NAIA and Division II teams play each other all the time in non-conference games in the fall. A number of NAIA schools tend to be smaller and private and religiously associated or affiliated. Not that you have to take religious classes or be a certain religious group, but maybe the school was founded by Presbyterians 100 years ago or the Baptist Church 100 years ago. So be aware, some families want that, some don't, but that's a certain characteristic of many NAIA opportunities. And that brings us to junior colleges. Almost 400 programs are in the junior college ranks. College coaches of 4-year programs, we love JC kids. Don't go into a JC opportunity thinking, oh, this is it. No, it's a great stepping stone. College coaches of 4-year programs, we like to recruit junior college athletes because we're bringing in a college kid with college grades who has been playing at a higher level for 2 years. When I was a Division I coach and Division II, I usually had 2 to 3 junior college kids on my roster at all times. Now, for families, JCs can be a great opportunity. You're going to play sooner at a JC because they're a 1 to 2 year program. So they're constantly turning their rosters over. It's not a bad thing. It's just the way that junior college is built. You're going to get a good scholarship. They scholarship very well. And if you don't get a full scholarship, the cost of attendance for a junior college by design is very, very low. So junior colleges can be a great opportunity and a great start. You play a year or 2 at the JC, and then you transfer to a 4-year program to get your degree and to finish your playing career. Now, there are a few smaller organizations or conferences that are 4-year schools that don't fall under the NCAA or NAIA organization. But in practice, they tend to be like NCAA Division II programs or NAIA programs with limited scholarships, reliant on academic scholarships as their driver, and can be religiously associated. But they're still college volleyball, it's still collegiate athletics, it's still an opportunity for you to continue your playing career while you're going to school. Hopefully that review of the recruiting rules in terms of contact and outreach, along with the scholarships that are available, the roster spots, and the different organizations, kind of help you understand a little bit of the nuts and bolts of college volleyball recruiting. But let's pivot and move into what do you need to do to actually start to filter and select those schools that can be a good fit for your family. And remember, this is a family choice. You are going to be still a volleyball mom or a volleyball dad. You're still going to be going to volleyball matches. You're still going to be on the highs and lows with your daughter when she's in collegiate athletics. The nice thing is you're not going to be in a convention center for 8 hours for 3 or 4 days straight. It's just 1 or 2 matches, but you may have to drive across the country to see your kid play. So let's go ahead and shift down to the next section on the recruiting handout, and that's talking about GAS, GAAS. I've tried to put together a little something from my experience as a student athlete, from my parents' experience, from leading the recruiting process as a college coach, along now with spending the last number of years helping families understand the process, not only with our recruiting talks, but with our sister company, Athletic Recruiting Counselors. So let's talk about GAS. First of all, G. When you're looking at the process and when you're talking as a family, geographically speaking, that is your number one priority. Figure out geographically what part of the country you're comfortable being as a family with your student athlete. If your daughter still loves you and she wants to stay close to home, likes the family dynamic, wants free laundry, then look at a local junior college. Look at a local school, an NAIA school, where you could literally live at home and then go to classes and go to practice. If she wants to spread her wings a little bit, maybe a 3 or 4 hour drive, draw a radius to figure out where you're going to be comfortable with your daughter going to school. Or mom and dad, if you've hit the point that you're like, hey, baby girl, we love you, but guess what? You're going to school in Oregon. We live in Virginia because we need a little bit of space. You got to figure out your geography, because if you're not comfortable with your daughter being 3 or 4 states away, if you're from Kansas and she's looking at schools in New Jersey and you're not comfortable with that, you got to figure that out now. I see too many families that either make the circle too small and try and expand late, and then they're behind, or they make the circle too big thinking, oh yeah, I could go to school in Oregon, but they've never been there and they don't understand the rain and the weather. So talk a lot about geography, because you need to start determining what region you're comfortable just going to school. The first A in GAS is athletic ability. Now, this is important. In club volleyball, you can play up, and we hear all the time, oh, my 15-year-old is playing 18 open. Fantastic, that's great. In college volleyball, you never play up, you play down. If your kid's good enough to go to the University of Texas and she can play at UT, then she's good enough to play down to the University of North Texas, a very nice mid-major Division I program. She's good enough to play down to Texas Women's University, a very nice Division II program. She's good enough to play down to Texas Wesleyan University, an NAIA program. So you can always play down, but if your student athlete has the skills of a good NAIA outside hitter, 5'7", 5'8", good ball control, jumps high, good all-around court awareness, fantastic. She's going to have a great NAIA career. She's going to get a good scholarship. She might play for a conference championship. She's going to have a wonderful experience, but she's not going to play Division I. So make sure that you are engaging with schools that are athletically a good fit. All right. I see too many families that write all the Big 12 schools thinking they're going to be a Division I athlete, and then when nobody responds to them, they're confused. Well, the reason nobody responded to you is because they didn't think your daughter had Big 12 skill sets. The second A in GAS is academics, okay, the academic interest. Now, I know this is tough with teenagers. Most teenagers can't remember, what they had for breakfast or what they want for dinner versus what they're going to do with the rest of their lives, especially if they're a sophomore or junior. But you kind of know your kid. You know your kid as a left brain or right brain. Are they in the garage blowing up the cat, or are they writing the next Star Wars trilogy? Figure out your kid. For instance, when I was a coach at Louisiana Tech University, that would have been a terrible fit for my daughter because she's not a STEM kid. She's into liberal arts, writing and reading and acting and creating. Her being focused at a science and tech school would have been a terrible fit for her. So You may not know exactly what your daughter wants to do, and that's okay. She may not know what she wants to do. I personally declared my major the last day of my junior year when my UCLA athletics counselor said, you need to declare a major or you won't graduate. So you don't need to know everything right away, but at least get a feel for what type of school that you want to engage with. Now, as you get further along in the process, be very specific about what schools offer what majors, especially if your daughter is driven. For instance, when I was at the University of Tulsa, we were a small private school, had a really nice engineering program, obviously because of Oklahoma oil, a good academic rating, and kids would write in. And I remember specifically, nice letter from an athlete, uh, you know, said that she was very interested in our school and wanted to contribute, and she had good skill sets, and she was going to major in architecture. That was her drive. I'm going to be an architect. Fantastic. University of Tulsa didn't offer architecture. So you wasted your time. For me, I just hit the delete button. But for a family who didn't do the research, you could have put that time into another school. And then the last letter of gas is the S. This is the scary letter. This is what type of social environment do you want your child in? Now, this is important. Even though volleyball may well be the driving force, if she's not living at home, you got to be comfortable with the social environment as a family. You're not going to sleep real well her first couple of years of college just because she's out of the nest, she's figuring stuff out. But you got to make sure it's a comfortable social environment. And what I mean by that is, what type of environment do you want your kid in at school? The greatest thing about volleyball when it comes to choice is we have a lot of choices. If you want to go to school in a big city, there's plenty of programs. You want to go to school in a small town out in the country. You want to be on the beach. You want to be in the mountains. You want to be in a program that has a big football team and there's always the tailgates and the campus action. Or is your daughter kind of quiet and reserved and really likes those interpersonal communication relationships, really likes to engage with people? And a big day is the pumpkin spice latte came out at Starbucks. Let's all go. Figure out the social environment, because that's really going to have an effect on your daughter outside of the gym. When volleyball coaches aren't controlling her every moment, she still needs to be a student. With gas, just be aware that this isn't a one and done conversation. It's a continual conversation. It's reevaluating when schools start to reach out. It's reevaluating after a campus visit. It's diving in deep to academically what you want to do. It's a constant communication process with the family, because that's going to influence the communication that you have with college coaches. So let me circle back to what I talked about near the beginning. Is the college volleyball recruiting process is competitive. Your daughter has 50 volleyball twins out there. Same height, same skill set, same grades, same attitude, same everything. She's competing against her 50 twins to get that roster spot, to get that scholarship, to get that school that she wants, that those other 50 girls also want. Families that stay engaged, that are active, that manage the process consistently are the families that are successful. And it's tough. I mean, life is busy. Both parents working, multiple kids in club sports, life gets busy. Understand that to be successful, we can't have a throwback to the old glory days where you just played club and a college coach found you. Yeah, that happens, but that happens for the unicorns. That's not the everyday occurrence. The families that are successful are the ones that work at it consistently, constantly sending out videos, constantly reaching out to college coaches, reviewing the process, engaging. It is hyper competitive. If you think you need help with the recruiting process, then take a look at our sister company. Athletic Recruiting Counselors is a personal, hands-on recruiting support company. Our counselors literally guide you, counsel you through the process so you can achieve your recruiting goals. We work together to select your target list of potential best fit schools. We work together to get your videos put together and sent out to college coaches, and we coach you on how to talk to college coaches. We're the person whispering in your ear about how to engage with college coaches and letting you know when a coach is interested or they're just trying to cash your check for camp. When you click the QR code or visit arcvb.com, you can schedule a meeting with me. I'll call you. We'll review your recruiting situation. We'll visit about your goals, any of the challenges or successes that you had. I can tell you more about how ARC can help you, and maybe it can be a good fit for you to achieve your goal. Because of our expertise and our experience, ARC enjoys a 99% success rate. The recruiting evaluation is free. There's no obligation. Take a moment, click the QR code, select the time and date that works for you. I'll give you a call. I'd love to talk to you about how we can help you achieve your recruiting goals.